We're in Colorado talking with Alicia. Alicia, you're with Allworth Money Matters.
Hi. Thank you,
Alicia.
and good morning.
Good morning.
So, I'm just to give you a background. I'm a 62-year-old federal employee. I'll be retiring in 4 months. I have, I think, a lot of things in order. I have a trust set up. I have lifetime long-term care, and I have lifetime medical through the federal government. I have $1.4 million in my TSP. My question is, and I get rental income that basically covers my mortgages, and my investment property brings in enough money to cover expenses in mortgages. I refinance to take out money out of my investment property for cost runs for a remodel of my primary home. My money I'm planning to leave to family members and a significant amount to charity. My question is, should I start taking, well, I was told by someone about Social Security optimization.
Okay.
And they suggested that I start taking Social Security at age 62 and then turn it off at 67 and take money out of my TSP if necessary. Then they said I should restart Social Security at age 70 to quote unquote maximize Social Security. And I really don't understand how that's going to work, because it seems like if I take Social Security for those years and start it early, it's still going to reduce the dollar amount of the benefit that I receive at age 70.
It will.
But if I did take Social Security, and also I wouldn't take it until 63 at this point. If I did take Social Security at this point, what I do is use that money to pay off the mortgage on my investment property early, which is at a 7% interest.
Okay, well let's
7%.
Yeah, let's step back for a second here. What is the value of your primary residence?
I'd say at this point it's $1 million.
And what do you owe on it?
I owe $370 maybe. I haven't looked at it.
And what's
in a
the
while.
interest rate?
It's 2.875.
Okay, and you have one investment property or multiple investment properties?
Well, I rent out. My house is set up as a duplex, so I rent out my basement. And so I bring in, let's see, that brings in $27K per year.
Okay. And then your investment property?
Okay, the mortgage is $1,736 per month, including property taxes and insurance, and it brings in $27,960, I think.
Okay.
Let me calculate.
Oh, that's
that
okay. That's
again.
close enough. That's okay.
Okay.
And what's the value of the property?
It's worth, I'd say, between $500 and $550.
And what did you pay for it?
I paid $79,000.
Okay.
And what do you owe on it now?
I owe $157,125, but I've been paying extra principal since even when I had the HELOC, because it had gone to 10% and it was interest only.
Okay, and it's not a HELOC now; it's a fixed rate.
No. Now it is a 30-year.
A 30-year fixed. Okay.
But I brought that down by paying extra. I'm about 10 years ahead.
Okay, and what money do you have in the bank?
I have $43,000 in emergency fund.
And are you 100% confident you're not going to work after you retire?
Except for things that I lose money on. I'm kind of dealing antiques, and I've made money 1 year.
Okay.
Is that where you want to spend your time, though?
No, actually, I want to spend my time traveling and volunteering.
And how much will your monthly pension be?
It's going to be it's weird because I've had estimates. It seems to be it's going to be between 40,000 and 45,000.
How much do you earn at your job now?
Right now, I just got a bump in pay, so I earn 145,000, but I started at around 30,000.
What was your pay last year before the bump? I'm trying to get an understanding of what you've been living off.
141.
Ah, so this is interesting. I'm running this thing through my head. So the first thing I would look at is,
And how many kids do you have?
None.
Oh, no,
and you're not
children.
married.
No, I'm not married. No kids. Basically, my money will go to my nephew, but a lot of that, most of it is going to go to charity. I'll
Okay.
see that he's taken care
All
of,
right.
as far as
And
paid off mortgage.
obviously, when you do that, you name the beneficiary of the IRAs or the thrift
What
savings
about a
plan.
charitable remainder trust with that rental house?
I'm sorry?
I'm talking to Pat here. I'm thinking about,
Huh.
I mean, because you've got one concept is you take that rental house and you structure it in a charitable vehicle where it transfers to the charity sells it, avoids the capital gain, you receive an
It is in the
income.
trust. Everything is in the trust.
Understand
No,
that. No,
no.
we're talking about something completely different. It's a charitable remainder trust, and it's a tax.
And there's different flavors of
Yeah,
them.
and you
so-
sound charitable. The problem is, Scott, it's $400,000 would be this. And what did you say you paid for it?
Nothing. 70 something.
79.
Yeah, I wouldn't. The cost of administrating a charitable remainder trust over the next few years relative to the tax savings.
I don't know. I mean, and depending on how deep she is with some more nonprofit she is, they could structure it all and take care of all the costs. There's no cost at all, and she suddenly gets a check every month and doesn't have to think about it.
Now, why would I get a check every month?
Well, because of how these charitable remainder trusts are actually structured.
Okay. I'm not familiar with those.
I mean, you have $400,000 of equity there. You could receive an income stream
It's
for the rest
greater.
of the rest of your life. It's going to be greater than what you have now, and you don't have to think about it.
That's right. Huh? Because you're only making $1,000.
I mean, to your point, it's $400,000, not $4 million. And oftentimes these are strategies used with larger states. But given your situation, you got a nice pension, you're going to have Social Security, you got $1.5 million in your 401k, TSP. I would think that
I would.
So you're asking. I wouldn't take Social Security right away. You've got some other kind of planning. I think you've got some other strategies to consider. I don't like the 7% mortgage on the rental.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate it. I would look at actually taking money out of the thrift savings plan and using that money in the bank immediately to pay that down. And you say, well, I want the money in the bank for emergencies. You could get at the thrift savings plan as fast as you get the money at a bank. So
Yeah,
it's just a
next year.
taxable
The
event.
taxable. You got to be careful.
So the 7% is what bothers me. And I would actually, Scott, I would say, why wouldn't you start Social Security? Why wouldn't you drain out some of that thrift savings plan in one tax year and start Social Security in the next? In
And
order
I
to
would
get rid of
put
this
any
mortgage.
the-
It's the 7% that crushes me.
Is it
and I was
Is it
planning
an
to
easy
take
property?
About 60,000 at the beginning of next year, and using a significant amount of that to also. I was thinking of paying down the mortgage, since I won't need all that money.
I would explore the charitable remainder trust that Scott mentioned. It never even crossed my mind, but it never even
could
because
take,
of the
you
size
could take
of it.
that rental.
So explain what a charitable remainder trust is and how they actually
And there's
work.
different flavors of them. So
Lots of different flavors.
yeah, you take typically it's a property that is, or an asset that has a lot of gain in it that someone would like to dispose of. They don't want to pay the gain. Number one. Number two, they are highly charitably motivated.
And
it doesn't
it's-
work if you're not highly charitably motivated.
And it probably is right because your yield on this for the amount of equity that
It's not
you're
much.
actually in this house
Not much.
is it's what?
By the time you have a
2%?
repair or two,
Yeah,
there's not a
2%.
lot left.
2%.
There's not a lot left. And so it's transferred to a charity. You receive a tax deduction, not of the full value because it's calculated. Because the charity actually doesn't get the proceeds until either at your death or at a period of time. You could structure it for 8 years and defer your Social Security. I'm just throwing things out, different planning ideas out. But with that, The charity then sells the property. They pay no capital gains because they're a nonprofit. And in exchange, they give you an income stream, a monthly income stream, either for the remainder of your life, Charitable Remainder Trust, or for a period of time. There's different ways to structure things. And so there's a lot of planning techniques. Your Social Security is one of them. And every once in a while, you hear us talk about like the benefit of doing a true financial plan with a true financial advisor, running through all these different scenarios. I think it's something for you to consider.
And by the way, many times a financial advisor will recommend life insurance to actually replace.
But you don't need that.
But you don't need that. That's why it actually makes the most sense, is because you're going to leave this to charity anyway. And what you're worried about is cash flow and tax implications. I think the Charitable Remainder Trust.
You're a single woman, relatively young at retirement, got a great pension. You're going to have Social Security as well. You got money saved in your retirement. The only thing we don't like in your portfolio is this rental with this high interest. You got a lot of equity that you're not getting any income, and now's the time in your life for income.
So do you have to have a charity, if to set up a Charitable Remainder Trust, do you have to pick the specific charity?
Yes. Yes.
There's pros and cons to them.
A donor-advised fund?
What a donor-advised fund? Well, the donor-advised fund, you're not going to get any income, and you need income.
You give it all away.
You give it all away.
Okay.
So donor-advised fund would make sense here if you didn't need any income.
And I've advised people on transferring property to donor-advised funds. They can work great, but you're given. We're not.
You need income.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not stating give away this property today to some charity.
That's right. We're saying, is there a bet? And if
is there a way to get rid of the mortgage and have more income off the $400,000 of equity you have in this house?
And if you didn't do that, it may make sense to sell the property.
There's a lot of different planning things to look at.
It may make sense to take money out of the thrift savings plan and pay it down. But even then,
even if you did an exchange to a lesser property. The boot's taxable. You'd have some taxable implications there, but not on the entire thing. There's some ways. There's a lot of different planning techniques that I think Social Security is, the last at least of your planning opportunities.
Yes, correct.
So
I'd explore the CRT. Thank you, Scott.
They're not used that common. I mean, they're not that
common.
Given what I don't know you that well. We don't know you that, but given what you said thus far, it could be a pretty interesting solution for you. So anyway, really glad you called, and hope you
enjoy retirement.
Engage with a good financial advisor to run through some of these scenarios with you.